Recording in progress.
Good morning. Can anyone please confirm I'm audible or not? Yeah. Okay then. Last class where we stopped, we discussed about hooks, right? Anyone have any questions? Hooks, regarding hooks. Do you have any questions? You can unmute yourself and you can talk. Anyone have any questions regarding hooks?
Sir,
Yeah.
like we did exception handling in classes, right? So how it works for functional, I mean for hooks?
Hooks also same, right? If this one is there, right? You have to write like exception boundary class like a class component. Exception boundary class. Exception boundary class has to write like a class component. Like this. Here you can write one class of the exception boundary, which is extends from react.component. In this, you have to override what? Static get derived error. Okay. Here, this is the exception boundary class. This exception boundary class you can use wherever you want. For example, I have one component is there, a component. Okay, inside this one, you can use exception boundary class like this. Okay, here you can place your stuff, whatever the problematic components are there. My hero is one problematic component, one more like this. Okay, exception boundary class should be a class component. Why? Because my get derived state from the error is coming from react.component. It's like a life cycle method for my class component. Understand?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So if anybody has don't have any doubts, I have a couple of questions. Can I go ahead?
No, you can ask me.
Like in browser console, browser console, I can see profilers and one more thing. One second. Profilers and components tabs. Can I know what are they used for? When I run a JavaScript, I mean React application, I could see two extra tabs like profilers and components.
Profilers and components.
Yeah.
Okay, that is going to tell like execution flow, which components are loaded. Okay, profilers is nothing but to load your component, how much time it's taken. For example,
can we open one application, sample application that we did it?
Okay. This is ours, right? The Redux topics. Yeah. Meanwhile, any other questions? It may take some time. No? Okay, then just wait for a few minutes. Meanwhile, we can do one thing. I want to create one more application. Now, we already completed hooks, right? Now I want one end-to-end flow. My React hooks is my client application. Okay, and my Node.js is my server, and my MongoDB is my database. Okay, first complete this one. After that, we can see React Redux is my client, Node.js is my server-side application, and PostgreSQL. First of all, complete this one. React hooks is my client side, right? First client side, I want to create one application. How you want me to create an application? So far, we discussed like how we created one application skeleton or boilerplate code if you want. How you get it? By running one command, create React app command or not. By running create React app command, okay, we can create an application. Now, I want to create an application skeleton in another way. Not like this. I don't want to create an application like a single HTML files, load that libraries, all these things I don't want. Okay, how we can create the application in another way means by using Webpack we can create Webpack. So how it looks like my Webpack means very simple. Say this, new folder, just create Webpack, Webpack React. Oops. Okay, is my client application. Is my client application. I want to get that application skeleton. How we can means, okay, it's not like by running create React app. Okay, if you run create React app by default, you can get the structure like node modules, public folder, source folder, and then package.json. Everything default we get it. But here you are the responsible person to create everything. It's like manually. Okay, you can customize each and everything. So first of all, open this folder in on command prompt. First, what things are required to run your application? Okay, application code, we can talk about that code later. First of all, one application, React application, if you want to run, what things are required? Minimum some libraries are required or not? Minimum some libraries are required or not? Where you want me to place all these libraries? Where you want me to register all these libraries in your application? In package.json or not? Who can read that package.json? npm install command or not? So that first of all, I need a package.json. So how we can get that package.json in your folder means npm init is the command. Npm init. By using this command, we can create a package.json. It will ask you some questions. Just answer it. Package name, okay, your application name, okay, version 1.0, okay, description if you want to write, you can write it. Entry point from JS side, index.js. Test command, okay, if you want to write the test commands, npm test or like that, you can write that command. Any repository is there, you can give it. Keywords, it's like which type of application, you can write it. Other name, you can write it. Okay, license, you can put it. Say finally, yes. Okay, now see, my package.json created or not? My package.json folder created. Now open that folder first. Open that folder. Open folder. Where is that? Inside the my classes here 76. This is your application folder. This is your application folder. So once you open this folder, okay, once you open this folder, observe the package.json. Just wait, it's still loading. Still loading. Oh. Yeah, this is my Webpack React hooks is my folder. Wait. It's taking some time. My Visual Studio Code is not responding. Just wait for a few seconds. Yes. This is my package.json. If you observe this, okay, see this? This is the default structure. Okay, they ask some questions, right? Based on that questions, my package.json prepared. Now, my question is, if you want to download any libraries, that libraries has to register here. Where you want me to register? Can anyone? Where you want me to register? By using which property you want me to register? In which property you have to keep all these libraries? In the dependencies property or not? Okay, can anyone confirm, is there any dependencies property? Is that there is no dependency? Nothing. Not only dependency property, there has one more property also my npm install is looking for. Which property, can anyone tell? Not only dependency, it's looking for dev dependency also. Okay, there has two types of dependencies are there. One is like normal one. Okay, you can say normal dependencies is like a production dependencies. Okay, this one is, you can say like a dev dependencies. Can anyone explain me what is the difference between prod dependencies and dev dependencies? Can anyone? What is the difference between prod dependencies and dev dependencies? Means very simple thing. For example, you created one application. This is my application. Okay. Once my application development is done, the next thing is what? The next thing is what? You build your application or not. Once my build is completed, you are going to deploy your application or not. This is only the right process. Okay, it's a development mode or not. It's like development mode. While developing, you are running one application. Okay, that means you written some piece of code. That code each and every time. Okay, if you save something, first what will happen? If you save something, you made some changes in my one of the component. Then the time these things, first it is going to compile, okay, and then it is going to load in one server or not. Load in one server or not. Okay, once it is loaded, that changes are going to reflect within the browser with one HTTP protocol or not. For every change in my development mode, these things are happened. My compilation and then my loading and then run in or loading in one server, run with HTTP protocol. See, my compilation, why it's happened in your application, you written some JS export has to compile. Once my application development is completed, you build that code. Is nothing but which code you are going to build, already developed code. Okay, that is like what? Okay, there is no errors, nothing or not. If errors are there, then the time my compilation is going to fail or not. Okay, it's like what? Okay, it's like a pure code or not, compiled code or not. Okay, so there is no compile time errors, nothing. There is no compile time errors, nothing. That type of code only we are going to build it or not. So once you build this code, here what happened in the build area? Okay, the code got minified or not? Minified or not? Yes or no? The code got like minified. All the files merged into a multiple files. Okay, 2 or 3 files or 5 files, like this, different files. It's going to minify, which is not understandable format or not. Okay, not understandable format or not. Understandable format or not. So here in development mode only, I'm going to compile the code. I'm going to run this particular application in one server. This is which mode? In the development mode only or not. So for compilation, which dependencies we are using? Okay, compilation, which dependencies we are using? General Babel we are going to use or not? Babel. Yes or no? So by using Babel, we are going to compile the code at the time of development mode. Once my compilation is nothing but what? It's like error-free code, then only, right, we are going to build. Everything is working fine, then only, right, we are going to deploy the code into server, okay, into my production or whatever it is. Okay, once this compile code is into my error-free code, we are going to build it. Okay, so once you build this code, we are going to deploy this build code only or not. Now, can anyone tell? Will you compile this build code? Will you compile this build code every time? Is it required to compile this code every time? Is it required to compile this code? Not required. Why? Because already error-free code only we are going to give the build or not. Here, no compilation, nothing. No compilation is nothing is required. So that code we are going to deploy in the production or not. So my Babel is required in development mode, not in the production mode or not. Production already error-free code only I built, that code only I deployed, that minified code only I deployed or not. So here in the production deployment, here no compilation, nothing is required. But in the development mode, compilation is required or not? Yes or no? So Babel, now tell me, Babel we required in the development mode or production mode? Where we are using this Babel? We are going to use in my development mode only or not. So my Babel is like which type of dependency? Dev dependency or not. Like this, each and every dependency we can say like either it's like a normal dependency is nothing but prod, or it's like a dev. We are using this dependency only in the development mode, then the time we can say like it's like a dev dependency. In the production mode, you are going in development mode also required, production mode also required some of the libraries. Can anyone tell? If you want to run your application in the development mode, React application, that should be React is required or not. So that code is going to build, it's going to deploy. Deployed code also which application? Deployed code also which type of application? React only, right? If you want to recognize or if you want to run your React application, React is required or not. So some of the libraries, okay, common for what? Okay, I want to use in the production mode as well as development mode also. That libraries we can use like a production mode libraries. So in the production mode is nothing but, okay, don't say like raw dependence or something, simply dependencies. Dependency is nothing but we can use in the development mode as like a production mode. Devo dependency is nothing but in the development mode only we are going to use. Understand what is the difference between, okay, Devo dependency and my prod dependency? Yes or no? Okay, some of the production, okay, dependencies tell me React is required. Okay, React is required. Next, React DOM is required. Okay, if you want to perform some operations, is like, okay, Ajax request and everything if you want to send, if you want, okay, Ajax request if you want to send. Then, okay, React router DOM if you want a navigation routing purpose if you want use. Till the time you can use like React router DOM. Okay, Access if you want to send a request to the server, then you can use like a Access like this. Okay, you can understand simply. Okay, the library which is required in the development mode, in the production mode, both. Then the time that library we can keep here. Okay, some of the Devo dependencies tell me. Devo dependencies tell me. Babel we are going to use where? Okay, as a Devo dependency or not. Now see, once my compilation is going to complete that, load in one server. That is like development server. Deployment is nothing but my AWS people provided, or my Heroku people provided, or my GoDaddy people provided. That is like production server. That is different. Okay, this is like a dev server. This is different. So in the development mode, I want one server. The same server we not use in the production mode. Why? Because my production environment completely different or not. Production environment is nothing but one more mission provided by one more service provider, either GoDaddy, AWS, or Heroku. Okay, that guy is going to give you one more server or not. So that this server is different and this server is different. So here development server is required or not. It's only for development mode only. In the development mode only. Okay, dev server is required. Dev server is required. Okay, like this, there has some dependencies. Dev dependencies are there. Okay, understand? So for good. Okay. For example, I want to add React now. I want to add React. So how we can add React means, say this. I want to add React as a dependency, Babel as a Dev dependency. See how we can add it. npm install. Next, React -- save. If I add like this, can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? It is adding like a dependency or Dev dependency. It is adding like a dependency. See here, you can find. Yeah. So this dependency added or not. Okay, the next one. Dev dependency. One of the Dev dependency about Babel, you can use it. npm install -g Babel core is the library. Babel core is the library -- save. Okay, now this is the dependency of Dev dependency. Dev. So that -dev you can keep it. -dev you can keep it. Now wait for some time. So this. Like this, to run your Webpack application, we need some dependencies as well as we need some Dev dependencies. Okay, first of all, concentrate on Dev dependencies. What things are required, you know? Okay, Babel related stuff for compilation. Okay, Babel related libraries are required. The next one, server related libraries are required. Okay, to run your web application. Okay, that means this is the one application, right? To run this application by using Webpack. My Webpack people only provided you one of the server called as a Webpack Dev server. So that library also required or not to run. See, very simple thing. Compilation purpose, one library is required. The next one, to run your application in development mode in one server is required. One server is required to run in HTTP protocol. Okay, so that server provided by whom, you know, that is that particular server provided by Webpack only. Webpack only. -G means it's like a global system level only one time. Okay, now if you come here, okay, the dependency is not loaded. Okay, -G is not required, right? It's like, okay, it's not like global. Okay, -G is not required. -G is not required. Okay, let's see. System level where it's going to store, you know, in your documents. Okay, C users, C drive users. Okay, your system name you can find there from folder. There, all your global related libraries are going to store. Whatever you install by using npm install -G. Okay, just wait. So that is the one thing. One is like compilation, another one is like server. The next one, Webpack. Why we go for Webpack? Okay, so this Babel core here, it's a dependency loaded, right? So because this is wrong. Okay, like given space, it's wrong. Okay. Next one, compilation, Babel will take care. Server, Webpack will provide. Why we go for Webpack? By using Webpack, what we can do, you know, whatever you written the code, for example, 100 components you written, by using Webpack command, we can bundle that one, we can build it. Exactly, Webpack, why we are going to use means we can customize your application based on your requirement. Okay, different libraries you can put it. Okay, different commands you can write here. That is depends. Okay, you can customize each and everything. By using Webpack command, what I can do means, once your development is completed, that should be built, right? By using Webpack command, we can build your application. We can build your application. Understand or not? So how many dependencies are required? How many dev dependencies are required means Babel is required for what? Compilation purpose, dev dependency. Okay, load one server, load that application in one server. For that purpose, Webpack people only provided one server, Webpack dev server. The next one, if you want to build that application, which command is required? Webpack. That is also one more command. Is all required or not? So already I have those package.json libraries. Let me copy paste. Okay, you can find it in the internet also. Okay, let's take some more time. So you can Webpack React app. Okay, these all required for me. These three. Okay, each and every file I will explain. Don't worry about that one. Okay, this is the one type of configuration you can set. Configuration. Now, if I open Webpack package.json, okay, this is dates, right? Okay, this is, okay, see this. What is required? These many dev dependencies are required. Can I copy these dev dependencies from here? Okay, say, okay, you can think this is like a internet, from internet I will copy. Okay, the next one is what? Okay, here these things are required. Okay, these are the dependencies are required. These are the dependencies are required. Now, if you observe here, dependencies, no problem, because you know why we go for material design. Material design for what? Okay, it's working like a bootstrap only. Okay, they are going to provide like some effectives. Okay, by using CSS. For example, normal text box is like what? Normal text box is like 4 sides, 4 borders out there, right? If it is like a material design text box, it's like something different. Okay, they provided you some extra CSS. That is like completely changing their look and feel. That's it. Okay, if you want that one, then you can go with the material UI. Yangs, you know, okay, to send the request to server. Bootstrap for responsive web design, React and React DOM. These are the basics are required or not. Basic libraries are required. Now come to the dev dependency. See, Babel related, these many libraries are required. Okay, when Webpack, okay, basic libraries. One is like Babel core, it's working like a Babel. Babel loader used for what, you know? In your application, any JSX code is there. The JSX code has to load or not? Has to load. For that purpose, we are using like loader. Okay, this Babel has to compile with which environment. Okay, that environment you have to tell like a React. Okay, so minimum 4 libraries are required in your Webpack application. The next one, in your application, not only JS files, JSX. Okay, inside the JS file, you can write like a JSX, right? Not only JSX, we have the CSS files also or not. So that if you want to load that CSS files also while running your application. Okay, then we are going to use like a style loader. Okay, my style loader load your styles related files. Okay, that files may be sometimes CSS, sometimes SAS files also there, sometimes less files also there. So that styles loader used for what? To load your styles. Okay, which type of files I want to load means CSS files, so that I'm going to use like CSS loader. That's it. That is regarding CSS. The next one, Webpack, used for what? Webpack used for what? Okay, to bundle, to build your application. To build your application, this command will take care. Okay, build also dev dependency only. Why? Because before production only we build our code or not. Before move this code to production, we need to build it or not. Once again, this build code, okay, not required to build again in the production or not. Already build code, we are going to deploy. The next one is like Webpack dev server, which is used for what? To run your application in one server. Webpack CLI to command line interface, to run your commands through your command prompt through CLI. If you want to execute that commands, then you can go with this. Understand or not? These are the minimum dev dependencies. If you want to add some more, you can add it based on your requirements. So I want to download all these things. How we can? Okay, package.json has your libraries. So how we can download? Can anyone? How we can download? Package.json have some dependencies. How we can download? By running npm install command or not? By running npm install command. Okay, now my npm install commands reads dependencies property as well as dev dependencies property or not. Okay, then wait for some time. After that, what about the scripts? Can anyone tell? What about the scripts? Okay, in the scripts folder, we are going to mention what? Okay, start commands. That means to start your application. Okay, that command we are going to write. Okay, another one is like build, to build your application. Okay, that type of commands we are going to write or not. So that if you observe here, see this. Can I copy these two? One is for start, another one is like build. Okay, now see this. If you want to start your application in one server, which server we are going to use? Can anyone tell? Webpack dev server. I already told you or not. That guy is going to take care to run your application in one server. The next one is like build. If you want to build your application, then the time, what is my command? Webpack is my command. For which environment you want me to build? For my production environment or not? Yes or no? Okay, these are the basic libraries are required. Okay, done. The next one. See, the React scripts, wherever the JS code is there, he takes that JS code and he is going to compile it. He is going to run in one server. Okay, that is already my Facebook people written within one library. But here, that type of things are not there. You have to mention, you have to tell, okay, to my Webpack dev server, hey, here is the place of my, here is the place you can get all your components and compile it and run in one server. Like this, you have to tell, you have to mention all these things. So to my Webpack dev server about my application. Okay, about my application means my application contains what? Okay, the JS files. Okay, that means your components. The next one is like your CSS files. The next one is like, okay, one of the file is acting like a root file. Which file? Index.html file. The next one is like index.js file from JS side. These all things you should have to tell to my dev server or not, Webpack dev server or not. Yes or no? You have to tell manually or not. So how I can tell means my Webpack dev server always looking for one of the file. That file name is like a webpack config.js file. Okay, so that write that file webpack.config.js. Config.js is the file. Okay, now see this. Don't change this file format. It looks like this only. Okay, it should be looks like this only, the format. Okay, then only my Webpack dev server can read that particular file. That file contains what, whatever the things in your application, those all should be registered there. Okay, whatever the components are there, you have to register. Whatever the CSS files are, you have to tell. At the same time, which file is the root file, you have to tell. From JS side, which file has to start Bootstrap file, you have to tell. All these things you have to tell or not. So how I can tell means, I'll come here, the webpack config.js. Okay. take this one. Now, come on, see. Here in the package.json, if you observe, there has, see, these are the compile purpose. Okay, these are the CSS related stuff. These are the Webpack stuff. There has one more library there. This library is HTML Webpack plugin is the library. HTML Webpack plugin. What is this HTML Webpack plugin library? You know, from HTML side, you have to tell to my Webpack dev server which one is the root file. Okay, by using this HTML Webpack plugin, we can say. So where you want me to configure means, so all these things you have to configure in your Webpack config.js only. It is, first of all, get the library HTML Webpack plugin. Require is nothing but what I am writing the code in the ES6 below. So that require is working like a import. So HTML Webpack plugin, I can get it. My HTML Webpack plugin is like a class, so that I'm going to create an object. In this one, from your HTML side, which file is the root file, I have to mention. So can I create one source folder to write your code? Okay, see, everything me only has to write. Okay, we only have to write. So one file you can create from HTML side. My index.html is the root file. Can anyone tell my HTML contains what? My HTML contains what? Index.html contains your container or not. ID equals to root. Now the Webpack config.js, just you have to tell a template. Template is nothing but a page, you can say. Okay, which page is the root page? Okay, that means from HTML side, which file has to load first? That one you have to tell to my Webpack dev server or not. Within the source, index.html is there, just load that one. That is the Bootstrap file. And then up here, okay. By using HTML Webpack plugin, you are going to tell like which HTML file is the root file. That's it. Okay. Once it is done, now you can create a module. Application is nothing but what? It's like a module or not. Is what? Multiple files. Okay, multiple files it contains. That files may be a JS files or JSX files or CSS or JPEG, JPG files, any files that application contains. Each and every file you have to mention here. Each and every file you have to mention it in the application. My application is nothing but a module, so that my Webpack module, any name you can give it. It's like an object. Okay, inside this one, this is like module. See this. Okay, don't change that keys. The keys should be same. The key should be same. Module is the key. Okay, this is an object. This is your object. Okay, here you can put any name. That object contains module, right? Module key. That key should not change. Module is the predefined key. Okay, module key. And then you have to tell inside the module what things are there. That rules you have to mention multiple things, right? So that it's like an array. It's like an array. It's like an array. The array contains what? Objects. See this. This is one object. This is one object. The first object, if you observe, test, the key. See this. This is the key. You should not change. Okay, test key used for to mention to get all your files. Which files? See the file which is extension with JS. It's like a regular expression. Okay, extension with JS. I want to get all the JS files. Okay, with JS files are not required. Okay, node module is not required. Why? Because only I want my components only. So that exclude node modules. Who can take care of this loading all these files and everything? My Babel loader will take care or not. This is the way we are going to mention to recognize your JS files by my Webpack dev server. Once it is done, the next one is like which type of files you may write. The CSS files. So test all CSS, which is extension with .css. All files are required. The next loader is what? The loader. My style loader will take care what? Okay. First of all, which type of the style file or not? That may be CSS style or maybe Sass or less. So that first of all, this one will take care your styles, recognize your styles. Which type of styles? Those are CSS styles or not? So that by using CSS loader, you can load that CSS files like that. For example, I want JSX, you can put the JSX file. I want the JPG files, put the JPG files. Anything you have to mention in the Webpack config.js file. Okay, and then plugins. Okay, in the module itself, you have to load this one also. So that what is my plugin? HTML entry point plugin you have to keep here. Okay, from HTML side, this is only my entry point or not. Like finally, you have to export this one. Why you need to export? Who will use this one? Can anyone guess? Who will use this one? Webpack module. Who will use this one? At the time of loading, okay, at the time of loading this particular application with my Webpack dev server, okay, at the time of loading this application, okay, Webpack dev server will take care or not? Webpack dev server is going to call this one. Understand or not? Webpack dev server is going to read this one. Okay, any other questions? At the time of loading, okay, that means at the time of starting your application by using npm start command, my Webpack dev server, first of all, read your Webpack config.js file. Okay, inside the Webpack config.js file, which files are there? Those files all are going to compile and is going to run in your application. That's it. Okay, these JS files and everything we are going to create. We are going to create in your application. In your application, app.js, one app component is required or not. Okay, that is the next level. Okay, done. The next one. You have to compile with what? Babel, right? Babel. Okay, with which environment? React environment or not? So that can we create one more file like a Babel configuration file. Okay, this is see the name Babel RC configuration file. Okay, the naming conventions you have to follow like this only. Babel RC Webpack config.js. Okay, here you have to mention your preset environments. Okay, presets, what is that? env and then react. Okay, these things you have to mention. Okay, that's it. Now, can anyone tell? In my package.json, if you observe, the main file from JS side is what? Index.js or not? The main file from JS side is what? Index.js or not? So that can we create one index.js file here? Okay, new file. What is my file name? Index.js is the file or not? Can anyone tell inside my index.js which type of code you want me to write? Index.js. HTML side, you have the container. Index.js, what you have to write? I have a container. My content has to load or not? Where you want me to write the content? Can we write the content now? Okay, that content I want to write within one component. Which component that is? App component. So can we write that app component? Import React from React. Okay, constant app. Okay, this is my component. Return h1 hello world. Close my h1. Okay, done. Now this component where you want me to use inside my index.js file or not? So that export default. What is my component name? App is my component name or not? Okay, so can we come to my index.js? Can we get that component first? Import. Okay, app from where? From my app component or not? If you want to recognize your component inside a file by using which library we can recognize it? By using React library we can recognize or not? So I want to render this component inside the container. So by using which library? Import React DOM is the library or not? So React DOM library we can get this object or not? Once you have the React DOM object, same code, React DOM dot render is the method. What do you want me to render? I want to render my app component. Okay, where you want me to render? Inside my container or not? Where is my container? My container is like a root or not? Yeah. Yes or no? Now, if anybody run your application from your JS side, okay, which file is going to load? Index.js is going to load. Okay, from your HTML side, which file is going to load? Index.html. Who will take care? My index.html is recognized by whom? Webpack dev server or not? Okay, where we mentioned all these things. See here, my HTML entry point is this one. You mentioned as a plugin in my Webpack config.js file or not? So can we run this one now? Okay, it gives me some error. What is that? Write like npm install. Okay, once it is done, once it is installed, okay, what do you want me to do? I want to run this one. If you want to run, which command you want me to use? If you want to run this application, which command you want me to use? In the package.json, if you observe, see this, if you want to start, okay, this is my start command or not? If you run npm start, internally Webpack dev server is going to call or not? So this library is going to load or not? What this library is going to do? First, you know, this library reads your Webpack config.js. this webpack config.js, which one is the root file from HTML side? How many files has to compile? Okay, those all things it can get it. Okay, once my compilation and my recognize the HTML side root file, all these things are done. Then the time my webpack dev server load your index.html, and compiling all these things or not. So that can we run this application now? Okay, how we can run it? npm start is the command. If you run this npm start, internally it's going to load what? Webpack dev server is not recognized. Why webpack dev server is not recognized? Goes all webpack dev server is there or not there? There, right? npm start is the command. Webpack dev server is not an internal or external command. Okay. Can you close this one? Can we run this one within this command prompt? Okay. How we can run it? npm start is the command. npm start is the command. Webpack dev server is open. Okay. Just wait. Now it's going to run or not. Webpack dev server is open. Dev server is going to call. Okay, this one is going to call what? Webpack.config.js file it's going to call. Okay, there it's going to find your index.html, and then all your JS files it's going to find or not. Just wait. Okay, it takes some time. Okay, if you come here, recognize this one. Okay. Here Webpack dev server is not there, so that just you can install it. npm install Webpack dev server manually, no problem at all. Now come here. Okay, let's take some time, just wait. Okay, whenever we create an application by using create React app, all these things handled by React scripts library. All these things handled by React scripts library. What my React scripts library is going to do? Okay, React scripts library is going to compile your code, the first thing, and then it's going to run in one server. At the time of running only, it's going to recognize your index.html file in the public folder. Why? Because the structure is like that. Okay, that structure and everything, okay, they only provided, they only configured. Okay, see this. My localhost 8080. Let's see my Webpack npm start Webpack dev server open, project is running on HTTP localhost 8080. Okay. Still it's compiling. First time it takes some time. Okay, if you see this React DOM or React scripts library, if you want to see, okay, same, not like same code. Okay, they may written in another way. Babel is there to compilation. Okay, they written some different way to compile your JSX. Okay, all syntactical rules they are going to check. Okay, their own code they written. Same like that, my React scripts people also written their own code to compile, to check. Okay, directly Webpack config.js file is not there in the create React app. Okay, this is only for Webpack. See, wait until build finish. Wait for some time. Yeah, see this? My compilation successful. Okay, we run this application in another, okay, in another file, I guess. It's not ours, right? This is the previous one, I guess. Okay, in our folder we can run it. This is not ours. Where is ours? 197 or this one? 76, right? This is our folder. Okay, run this application here. Okay, how we can run it? npm start. Webpack dev server is not recognized as nothing but npm install is not properly installed all our libraries. That is the problem. npm dot. Webpack dev server is not recognized. Okay, npm install -g webpack server save. For example, is that like not there, right? Okay, let's do it. What will happen is now come here. Is there anything is wrong with this? Webpack dev server start webpack dev server. Okay. Yeah, now it's open, right? It's running on localhost 8080. My hello world has to print yes. Okay. Now see, if I made any change in the app.js, if you made any change in the app.js, okay, DDD, if I save it, if I save this one, now see this. If I save it, auto reload is happening. See this. Who will take care? My Webpack dev server will take care or not? Understand? Okay, this is the way you can create your own application. See here, whatever we can do with the create React app, the same way we can do it or not. Okay, this local host is there, right? Okay, with IP address you can keep. Okay, this is default one, default port number. Okay, if you want to change that port number, yes, you can change here. Open port also you can mention here if you want to change. Okay, I think you can reply port 2021. Thank you. Number. Webpack dev server. Okay, somewhere you can mention all these things. Yes, this is the one. Webpack dev server. My port is like this. And then which host number? Okay, port. Okay, 80. Port 21. Like this, you can do it. Okay. Now you can come here. Now you can come here. Then we run it. npm start. npm start. Now my application has to run. This is the one that Webpack dev server --host --port. Like this, you can do it. This is the one that --port. Yeah, now it's running on localhost 2021 or not. You can change that one based on your requirement. Okay, this is the way it's going to work. Okay. Okay, then now come to our requirement. My requirement is like very simple thing. I want to create one simple form. Okay, one student form, you can take it. His name, his roll number, his location. Okay, at the time of clicking on the button, each and everything we have to use like hooks only. There is no class components, nothing. Everything functional component only. Okay. Once you created this particular form, if I click on the button, that data has to go to your server, 𝕨𝕚𝕥𝕟𝕜𝕤, an application you can create. Okay, from there, you have to insert the data within the MongoDB database. That's my requirement. So come here. I want to create one more application like this. Node.mysql created, right? One more application I want to create like a node Mongo. Okay, inside this one, I want to create my server-side application. How it looks like. Okay, by using Express, we can get the skeleton or not. Yes, we can get it. Now, npm install is the command. Okay, just keep it like this one. Now, come on. What's your requirement? My requirement like this. My view should be like this. Let me open page. My view should be looks like this. This is my browser. Inside the browser, this is my header, and this is my footer. Okay, here there is no menu, nothing. We already covered different routing site. One is like hash routing, another one is like browser routing. Only one page I want. So here you can write your name, okay, your roll number, and your location. Okay, 3 text boxes, you can keep it like this. This is one, this is another one, and this is another one. And finally here I want one button. Register. Now, once you register the data I want to show it in the tabular format here. The data I want to show it in the tabular format. That is my requirement. So completely by using hooks, whatever the topics are there, whatever the topics we discussed, each and every topic I want to use here. Okay. Can you do it? For this requirement, how many components are required? If it is only the requirement, how many components are required? Header and footer. The next one is like what? This is one registration form. This is one registration form. And this is one component. Which component? Table component or not? Okay, overall 4 components required. So can we create those 4 components? Just create one simple JS files. Okay, one is like header.js. Okay, the next one is like footer.js. Okay, the next one is like registration.js. Okay, the next one is what? Table.js. Okay, now I want one index.css file or styles.css is required. Styles.css is required. Okay, now I want to write my header component. How you can write my header component? First, import React from where? From React. Import React from React. Done. Okay, constant header from where? From here, can we export it? Export default. Is that header or not? Default header. Can we return? Div and close my div. My header looks like this. React. My server and is my database. I want in the center. Okay, so I want to use Bootstrap classes. Now tell me how we can use Bootstrap classes. First of all, my Bootstrap CSS already loaded or not, you can check it. Inside the package.json, my Bootstrap CSS loaded. Bootstrap loaded, library loaded. Inside the library, CSS out and JS both are there or not. Okay. Material design UI, we can use it. Material design UI, we can use. Material design UI is not like Bootstrap. It's not like Bootstrap. Okay, it's not giving like text align centers. That type of classes will not provide. They concentrate on only components. Okay, how my ready button looks like. Okay, another one is like how my text box should be looks like. That type of things they provided. Okay, if you want to give the background color, okay, that type of things are not there here. Okay, so can we use Bootstrap first? Okay, how we can use the Bootstrap? Can anyone? How we can use Bootstrap? Now this is my Bootstrap CSS I want to use. First of all, can we import the CSS? Okay, where you want me to import? Inside the index.js, you can import it. Okay, how we can import Bootstrap? Import Bootstrap. This is the folder. Inside that CSS, inside that bootstrap.css is my file. Okay. Now come here. Come import. Here I want to use classes. My class name. If you want center, text center is the class. If you want some background color, BG primary is the background color. If you want some other external styles, okay, you can write that styles with your own class. Header is my own class. So that can we write that styles inside this CSS? Okay, how we can write it? This is my header one. Okay, how we can write it? Can anyone? We can give like font size. It's like 60 pixels. Font weight is like bold. Okay. The next one. Font style is like italic. Okay, these are all things. Now my header component is ready. Where you want me to load that component? Inside my root component or not? So can we import it? Import my header from where? From my header or not? So that here can we load it? Just you can write like one div and close my div, and this is my header port or not? Just load my header. Now see this, my compilation completed or not? Compilation completed or not? Now if you come here, see this my header port is like this or not? Okay, just wait for 2 minutes. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back. Now here this one center applied, this is also applied, right? Okay, but my own style is not applied. My index.styles.css is not applied. So you need to load that CSS file or not. That is your file or their file, whatever it is, you need to load it. So how you can load it? Import within the same folder my styles.css. Styles.css is my file or not? Now see this, how it looks like. Okay, can I give some color for this particular one, like white color? My color equals to white. Now come here, say this. Understand? The next one. Can anyone? Can we write the footer part now? Okay, go to my footer. Okay, constant constant. Okay, write your stuff. Okay, Bootstrap from where we imported means, see this index.js. This is the Bootstrap, right? In the node modules, you can find, you downloaded already Bootstrap. See this inside the node modules. Okay, where is my Bootstrap? Bootstrap. Inside this Bootstrap dist, inside the dist CSS, inside the CSS, these many CSS files they provided. I used bootstrap.css file. This file I used. Okay, all your libraries, whatever the libraries by using npm install, those libraries we can find in the node modules folder. Okay, now footer one, can we write it? First, if you want to recognize your component, which library is required, import React from where React library is required or not. The next one, constant footer is my component. Okay, can we return my div? Close my div. Okay, here you can write and copy rights belongs to. Okay, this is the one. You can write your stuff. My class name equals to text center. My background color equals to primary, and my class name, my own class name is like a footer. This one I want to use where? Inside my app.js. Directly you can export with default, or you can export from here itself without default. If it is like without default, in my app.js, how you can get it? Okay, close others. In my app.js, how you can get it? Okay, by using destructuring format or not. From which file you are importing something? From my footer one. Okay, here what is that one? Footer one or not? So that footer type is like what? Footer type is like a component. You can load this component. Here can we write your stuff CSS. Okay, styles.css. Write your footer. What things are required? Anyone? My font size is like 20 pixel. My font weight is like bold. Okay. Now my font style equals to italic. But I want in the bottom so that my position equals to fixed. And then once my position is fixed, it's turned to be the black cloud element is turned to be inline. So that can we make it like width equals to 100%. Width equals to 100%. Now if you come here, okay, this is my footer. Now make like color and bottom 0. My bottom equals to 0 and my color equals to white or not. Okay, now come here. Yes, it's good. You understand or not? Okay, now can we create one form now? Okay, how we can create one form means by using material UI. So can I use like material UI for React? Okay, material UI for React. If you take any library, the core library is different. On top of that one, okay, my particular framework or library, they are going to create their own framework on top of that one. But for example, material UI basic library is there. My Angular people, they developed their own library to support Angular applications. My React people, they developed their own libraries to support React applications. The core thing is like same only. Okay, material UI, get started. Okay, now if you want to install, just you can use like material UI install. Okay, and then yeah, I'll take 1 more hour. Okay, this is my material design. And if you want any CSS files, okay, you can use this CSS. This is my SVG icons. If you want any icons, material UI icons, then you can load this one by using npm install or yarn. I will tell that yarn one. Okay, if you want to use like this is like network links. This one you can use it for material UI. Okay, CDN links. Directly you can load like script source equals to something. Okay, that's not a matter. First of all, I want material UI in my application, so that just load this one. npm install material UI 4. Okay, already I installed, I guess. Say this npm install material UI code. This is only my material UI or not. Okay, now based on your requirement, you can write your stuff, what you want. Okay, I want to create some in text boxes, so that see this from container or grid box, how it looks like. See this. This is my box. Okay, input buttons. Okay, where is my box layouts, right? Container, how it looks like. Okay, see this. If you want like this, left side if you want to leave some space, right side if you want to place the content. Okay, that one we can say like a container. Container is a component. See this. If you want to see that code, say if you want the if you want to keep this particular structure in your application, okay, this structure if you want, okay, if you satisfied with this one, just see the source code, show the source. See this. Okay, this is the source code you can use to get that structure. This is the source code, you can use it. Okay, these are the things you have to import from where? Material UI core. From material UI core, based on your requirement, just you can use it. Just import this one and keep all these things. Okay, if you're satisfied which one you want, each and every, okay, each and everything has their own source code. You can find each and every template, you can see your own source code. Okay, you can get that source code. Okay, like this. If you're satisfied, grid if you want. Okay, if you want like this, okay, three tiles you want. Okay, then the time you can go with the grid. If you want that grid, just you can use this stuff based on your requirement. Understand or not? Okay, give an image list, for example. If you want multiple images or there in your application like this, if you want to format it, okay, this is my source code for that. This is my source code for that. Understand or not? Okay, but I want text box in this particular one. In this particular requirement, I want one text box. This is my button. Okay, if you want this button, say the source code. Which button you want. This is the button for this. If you want button primary, this one. If you want button secondary like this is the one, color secondary. Like this, each and every template you can find the source code. If you're satisfied with this, you can copy and paste in your application. Copy and paste your application. That's it. Okay, multiple buttons or group, you can use this. Say this. Already existing code. This is already working code. Okay, copy paste in your application. That's it. Okay, text field I want. Say this. This is my text field. You want this text field or this text field or this text field. You can decide first. Okay, say this. If you want the text field, you have to import this one first. My text field is this one, standard. It's nothing but this. The next text field, if you want, this is another one filled. Okay, this is the one. Okay, the next text field is this one, outlined. Okay, this is the one, standard filled outline. Got it or not? Okay, if you want to edit, if you want to check, just click on this pencil symbol, edit. Okay, that navigate to your live code environment. Okay, see this code sandbox. Okay, here you can make some changes. That changes you can see. The changes will reflect here. Okay, it takes some time to load. Something is downloaded. Like this also you can check it. So this text box I want. So that first you have to import this one. Where in the registration form, right? Constant registration. Open one and close one. Okay, return until you can. Now, first of all, you can write import statement. Import React from where? The next one. This is the thing is required. Okay, here this text field I want. So I want to take one div. Here you can write my label. My label is like name and my text field. Okay, which text field you want? This text field I want. this text field you can place it. Okay, ID you can give like name or whatever it is. Okay, label what? Okay, please enter. Like this you can put. This registration I want, right, inside my app, so that just export from here, import inside this app.js after header. Okay, this is the one. You can import it. So import registration from where? From my registration. Import registration from my registration. Now can you come here and check it, how it looks like? Now say this, it looks like this or not? Okay, you can design it. Now I want to use Bootstrap to make it like center. Okay, I want to make it as like look and feel. For that, I don't want to use like a direct Bootstrap. Okay, React Bootstrap also there. So that can we go with the React Bootstrap? React Bootstrap. React Bootstrap. See, this is my React Bootstrap. Okay, get started. If you want React Bootstrap, say this, these things are required. So can we install this one first? Can we install this one? They specified like Bootstrap 5 version is required, so that I want that one only, just you can. Okay, now the Bootstrap, which version you are using? Can you go to my package.json? You are using like Bootstrap 4. Okay, they ask for like 5. Okay, no problem, just make it same. Okay, these are like dependencies or dependencies. Dependencies. Okay, now see this React Bootstrap, how it looks like, how my React Bootstrap looks like. Okay, once your installation is completed, in the React Bootstrap, if you want a button, say this, they create one component or not, which is coming from the React Bootstrap. See that layouts and everything. Okay, the grid system. I already told, right? Container and container fluid. Okay, same like this. See, they created one more component. That's it. Container is one component. Okay, row is like one component. Columns, inside row, how many columns you want me to specify? That columns you can put it. Like this. Each and everything is like a component. My container, if it is like a container fluid, then the time you can pass as an attribute to my container, then the time they internally take like a container fluid. Okay, like this. Okay, see, this is my container. How many rows are there? 2 rows are there. Okay, how many columns are there? This is my first column and this is my second column. 6. Okay, here, okay, 3 columns are there. 4 parts it's going to give or not. Now, based on your resolutions, you want to give, say this, based on your resolutions, I want to give like, for access, 6 parts I want to give, 6 columns I want to give. Okay, then the time you can give like a 6 columns like this. Okay, or for my second row, for access, I want to give like 5 columns. Like this, you can give the 5 columns. See how it looks like. Okay, first done this one. See my Bootstrap updated. My React Bootstrap is this one. Now come here. Where is that? My registration form is this one, right? Okay, first of all, right, my div. Okay, my class name equals to row. Okay, done. Okay, Bootstrap, core Bootstrap I'm using. After that, we can convert into React Bootstrap. Now here, my div class name equals to row, 1 row done. Okay, another one is like what? Call SM. How many parts you want me to give? 5 or 6 parts you want to give, you can give it. 5 parts I want to give for what? 5 parts I want to give for what? 5 parts I want to give for this particular label or not? 5 parts I want to give for this particular label. Okay, and then 3 parts I want to give for my text box. My div, my class name equals to all SM. 3 parts I want to give for this particular text field. Okay, done. Now this is my div. Okay, now if it is like a class is like row, my class name is like what? Container fluid. I want to keep inside the container fluid. Okay, now if you come here, how it looks like? Okay, it looks like this or not? This one I want on the right side. Okay, then how we can text right, like this. You can put text right. Okay, why it's not coming, you know? In the Bootstrap 5, maybe this class is not there. They may change. In the past, my Bootstrap 5, in my Bootstrap 4, text right is there. So Bootstrap 5 text align, how it looks like, you can check. Okay. Bootstrap 5 text aligns. Bootstrap 5 text align. Can you check it? Wall break, text form, text series. If you want capital, small, so many classes they introduced. Font weight, line height, text muted, text decorations, marks. Where is this text align? Text. Right. You observe here, text align is like this one. That can be right. What is my class name? Text and can you try the text and no. Come here, say this. It's coming like this or not? Yes or no? Okay, I want one heading. Registration. Close your heading. My class name equals to center. Center. Okay, I want to give some bottom. Okay, margin bottom. Margin bottom equals to 4 or 5. Okay, it looks like this or not. Margin top also required. Margin top equals to 3 for example. Margin top also required. Okay. Now this is the one. This is the one. Now the same thing I want to convert. Okay, I want to make this name. I want to keep here. We'll think about that one later. Okay, first of all, this one I want to convert. This spot is there, right? This spot I want to convert by using React Bootstrap. React Bootstrap I want to use it. First, I want one row. If you want one row, your React Bootstrap, see, row is my component or not? Row is my component. So, is there any source code did you find? If you have the source code, just you can copy paste, right? Okay, no problem. You can get it from where? React Bootstrap, right? Import from where? From React Bootstrap. What do you want me to import first? Okay, container if you want. You can keep this container first. This one, remove it. Okay, container, we can think about this one later. First, I want one row. I want one row. So that can we create one row? Say, here I want to create row. Yeah, my row ready. Row ready. Inside this row, what do you want? Okay, 2 columns are required. 2 columns are required. 2 columns are required. Okay, one column has to take 5 for SM resolution or not. So that can be write that. My call is my one more component. Call is my one more component, which is coming from where? React Bootstrap only. React Bootstrap only. Okay. Inside this call, what is the resolution you want me to put? SM. Okay, how many ports you want me to give? 5 ports or not? SM 5 ports. Okay, here I want to keep this stuff. Okay, and then the same thing. How many ports you want me to give? For SM, 3 ports I want to give. Okay, this is your text box for roll number. Okay, this is my roll number. Okay, ID is like the roll number. Please enter roll number. Please enter roll number. Now see how it looks like. Now see, it looks like this or not? Where is my name? Got that name or not? Yeah, we got it, right? here this is my name. Okay, this is my name, this is my roll number. Both are like same or not? Here, see, the container fluid is not there. I removed, so that can we keep this stuff inside the container fluid? How we can? Container is my component. All this stuff you can keep it. Okay, container. Okay, instead of the div, just keep like container. Okay, container. If I put like container, still this one is like fit for that particular resolution or not. If you want to give like container fluid, you can give it. Container is nothing but what? This one, leave some space in the right and left. Okay, this much space I don't want to leave, for example, like that. Then the time you can put like what? Fluid. How you can give it? Fluid. Now come here. Now see, it's fit for that particular resolution. Yes or no? Okay, now this roll number I want in the right side. Okay, then how we can, this one I want in the right side. So can I use the same class? What will happen? My class name equals to what? Text. Class name equals to text. Yes. Okay, but the thing is, can anyone tell, is this class directly applied? No. They are expecting your class as a prop to this guy. This guy is going to apply that one as a prop or not? Why? Because it's a component. But to avoid that confusion, just he said like whatever the classes, how you are applying the classes for div, same like this you can apply to my component also. I will take care of that one, like that he said. Understand or not? Okay, like this you can use React Bootstrap. Understand or not? Now I need some gap between this line to this line. So how I can give the gap? I want to give some gap. Okay, this is my label. Okay, empty row is nothing but one more div you are going to place or not. Okay, it's not recommended one. If you put like one more row, okay, that means you written some piece of code, some extra DOM element you have to write it or not. Okay, margin bottom 3, like this you can put it, margin bottom. Okay, can I write something like this? For this div, I want to give like margin bottom 3. Okay, for this row also, my class name equals to what? My class name equals to margin bottom 3. Like this you can give it. Now you can get some gap or not. That's all. Okay, if you're not satisfied with this, just you can give some more margin bottom 5. If you want to give 5. Yeah, this much gap is not required. Give like 4, margin bottom 4 you can give. Yeah. Now this name and this one you can adjust it. Okay, see how my name looks like. This is my name. Okay, can we change the position relative? My top is like 0. Can we make it like this? We make it like this, 25. Okay, this is for my label text class. So can we write that class here? What is my class name? Label text. Okay, this is my class. Can we apply this class for all labels wherever you are using? This is one label. Can I use that class name? Class name is this. Okay, this is one more label. Can I use that class name? The class is this. Now copy this and come here. See how it looks like. Okay, is it not saved? Label text. It should work right. Yeah, so this is how it looks like. Yes or no? Okay, now if you observe here, this is my text box, but this is my div. How many parts are given? 3 parts are given. But here my text box taken how much? Okay, fixed width or not? Fixed width. But My 3 ports is nothing but that much width is there. So can we give the width is like 100% to this like this 100%. So inside this div, okay, the inside this div, this is my first div. For this particular div, I want to keep my width is like 100% or not. Same like this, and this is the one. For this also, my width is like what? My width is like 100% or not. So can we add this stuff to this class? To this class, can we add like with 100%? Now, where is this? This is the one. My 100%. It's like 100%. Yes. See how it looks like. Okay. Sorry. So, do you want me to add one more row? Just you can add it. Okay. The registration. I want to add one more row. Just copy paste. Okay. This is the one. Now I want the address. My text field should multi-line now, so that come here and check in my material UI designing. Okay, did you find any text areas? Okay, if you observe here, see this is a multi one. No, it's a number, not a multi. It's a number. Oh yes, this one. Okay, multi-line. Say this. Multi-line. Like this one I needed. So see the source code. Wherever the multi-line is there, I say this multi-line one. What you have to add? Multi-line one attribute you have to add it is nothing but a prop attribute you have to add it. That one, my text field will take that one. And how many rows you want me to show? Okay, 4 rows or 3 rows. That one you have to add it or not. So I want this text field only, but I want to add 2 more props for that. 2 more props. One is like multi-line. You have to tell how many rows you want. That rows you have to keep it. Please enter address. My ID is like what, address or not. Now you can save it. You come here and save it. Yeah. Okay, this is the one for the how many you said? Okay, 4, right? Okay, 4 lines by default. If you want extra, then you can put it. These many lines are not required. Like 2 lines. That's enough for now. Okay. Can we write one button now? Write one button. Okay. This is not required for me. Okay. Inside the call, how many columns are there? 12 columns. I want center. Button. I want center. Okay. If you want, you can offset. You can search for the offset. If I want just center, you can keep it. Here, I want one button. So now one component is there for button itself. So that can use like a button component. So can we write that button component here? My button. Okay. Submit. Close your button. Done. Now can you come here? Can I check? Yes. Let's look like this or not. Finally, my form ready. Yes or no? Okay. Okay then. Can we go to the next level? Now my requirements here will done. At the time of clicking on the button, this data has to store within the MongoDB. That is my first level requirement. Now, once my data stored within the MongoDB, immediately you have to take the data and show within the table. Okay, immediately you have to take the data, show within the table. So here, I want to maintain all your MongoDB data in my Redux store. Okay, I want to maintain all my MongoDB data there in my Redux store. So that at the time of clicking on the button, can we write that flow diagram? Then you can understand. this is my form. This is my form, client side. Okay, and this is my DB, and this guy is my server side guy. Okay, inside this client, I have a form. Inside this client, I have a form. This part you can say, okay, for my app component. Inside my app component, what we have? I have one form like this. Here, the next one is what? One table like this. Okay, my form contains what? Name, roll number, and location, and submit. Now, if you come here, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, and this is my submit. Okay. At the time of clicking on the submit button, can anyone tell me the flow? Can anyone tell me the flow? At the time of clicking on the submit button, do you want me to call directly my server side technology? Do you want me to call directly this one? Do you want me to call directly this part? Do you want to call directly? Okay, no, then how we can call? Okay, Ajax is required. Okay, do you want me to call that Ajax directly? Okay, no, so that I want to write one shared one or not. Okay, I want to write one shared file. Yes or no? This is what, which file? Server call service. Server call service. Now, at the time of clicking on the submit button, I want to call what? I want to call my server call service. Yes or no? My server call service give this data to this guy. Okay, right numbering. At the time of clicking on the button, it's going to call this one. This guy is going to communicate with what? My server, it's called as a request, and my server give the response back to my what? Server call service or not. This is my response. Once you call this one, this guy is going to give the response back to this guy or not. Back to this guy. Yes or no? Once this guy give the response back, the response may be a success, may be a failure. Yes or no? Okay, if it is like failure, what you have to do? Okay, not inserted, please try again. That is your message or not. If it is like a success, what you have to do? If it is like a success, what you have to do? I want to call one action to get the data from my database. To get the data from the database. Which data? Updated data or not. So it's called as an action. It's called as action. Action is like a simple JavaScript method, right? It's not like a Thunk or Saga or something. If it is like a success, I want to call what? I want to call my action. So this is my first, you send the request. This is my second one. If it is like a failure, you have to give the message like message, that is like third one. Okay, if it is like a success, then the time you have to call my action is like a fourth. If you call an action, what my action is going to do, can anyone guess? My action is going to send a request to this guy. That guy is going to get the updated data and give this response to this person or not. Again, give this response to this guy or not. So this is my fifth one and this is my sixth one. Once you get that updated data, anyone tell what you have to do? What you have to do? Can anyone guess? That data you have to store within my Redux store. You have to store within my Redux store. So this is my Redux store. This is my Redux store. So who can communicate with the store? Can anyone tell who can communicate with the store? Okay, my Redux store, I can communicate by using reducer or not. So my action is going to give this data to my reducer. My reduced is going to give this data to my store or not. Yes or no? Okay, this is what? My reducer. Okay, this is what? This is my store or not. So once this guy get the data in 6th point, my 7th one is what? Give this data to my reducer. My 8th one is what? Okay, the reducer is going to give this data inside my store or not. Once you have the data inside the store, already my component communicate with the store. Okay, which component? Table component, and get the data from the store and display the data within the table. That is my 9th point. That's it. This is your node part. Node. And this is what? This is your Mongo. Any questions in this flow? Yes or no? Okay, is it okay? Okay. Okay, then let me save this one first. File, save as. Save it. Where you want me to save? My classes. Yeah, everything is like hooks. Everything is like hooks. There is no Redux library, nothing. So here where our class 9765 React hooks. Okay, then. Now come on. What folders you want me to create here? One new folder. I want to create actions. The next one. I want to create reducers. Same flow. Same process I'm following. Okay, but the syntax and everything is like different. Reducers. Okay, next. Come on. Oh. The next one. I want somewhere context also, right? Okay, the next one. Utils. Next. Any other things are required? Reducer is there, store is there. Okay, all these things. Okay, server call service shared. Shared. Any other? Any other? Okay, for now it's okay. Okay, can we write the code now? Okay, tell me the actions. What type of code you want me to write inside the action? Can anyone guess? Inside the action, what type of code you want me to write? How my action looks like? How my action looks like? Which type of action first? Tell me. The action. Which type of action that is? What is the purpose of this action? The purpose of this action is what? You inserted a student inside my Mongo. I want to get that student's data or not and keep inside my store or not. So my action name is what? Student action. Steady action. Action.js. Now here, can we write it? Constant action. Open one and close one. Yeah, done. The next one, export default. What is that? Steady action or not? Steady action. Now, anyone? From here, what type of code you want me to write? From here, what type of code you want me to write? You should have to call with you have to communicate with the server call or not. So can we write the server call to communicate? Can we write the server call? Write it. New file. Server call.js. Okay, how my server call is looking? It's like a simple class. Okay, here, same. Can anyone? If you don't want to write the class, can you use something different approach. Constant function get request. Function get request. Let me send like this. Function get request. Okay. Now this method has to call from some other person so that you can export it. You can export it. Okay, here, what is required? URL is required. URL is required. So here, can we use the library Anxious to send the request to the server? Okay, finally, here what do you want me to write? My Anxious dot get of what? Your. Can we return this stuff? Yes or no? Like this, different things you can write, no problem. Function post request. The URL and the data also required so that my request Anxious.post the URL comma data or like this you can write it. So come here. Here can we get from method from which file? Server call. From which one? Right. Here so that share control space is the shortcut. This is the shortcut. It's doing. Yeah, shared. If the shared server code is the file or not. What they exported? Export with what? Default or without default? Export with the default or without default? With the default or without default? Without default. So that can we call it? This method you have to call from here or not. Okay, how you can call it? Function get request. Okay, whatever the URL you want to pass, you can pass it. So my function get request called this one. It is going to call the answers.get with the URL and returns me what? A promise. That promise returns here, returns this promise. So this return belongs to function get request. So that my function get request finally returns me what? Promise or not. Yes or no? Any method returns a promise, how you can handle it? By using then as by using catch. Okay. After that, you have to do some changes. We'll do the changes. Okay, but the skeleton is looks like only or not. 80% or 70% is looks like this only or not. After that, we'll do the required changes. Now, once you get this response here, once you get the response, success or failure, think success. Once this guy get the response, to whom you want it to give this data? This data you have to give to who? This data you have to give to my reducer or not. Okay, how we can give this data to my reducer? By using dispatch or not? Now you can ask the question like how we can get the dispatch. That is next level. We'll see later. So that come here. Can we create the reducers now? Can we create the reducers? Now come here, new file. What's my reducer name? Any name you can give it. Okay, my reducer based on one reducer if you write, most of the times we are going to use your application name, reducer name as right. Okay, just here you can write like my reducer.js. Can anyone tell how my reducer looks like? How my reducer looks like? Come on, constant, my reducer, open one and close one. My reducer take how many arguments? My reducer take how many arguments? 2 arguments. One is like state, another one is like action. Can anyone guess? Here, my state, do you want me to assign the initial data here? Do you want me to assign the initial data? Same like Redux library. Do you want me to assign this data here? Utils data, initial data? No. Who will take care? My user reducer will take care. Okay. Here, student and action. Now here, write it. On switch case you can write. On switch case you can write it. Okay. Here, you can write your stuff. Okay. What? Based on your action type, you can perform some operation. Finally, you have to return what? Your state or not. Finally, you have to return your state or not. Agreed? This is my simple reducer or not. Can anyone tell? This reducer has to register with what? Can anyone tell? This reducer has to register with what? This reducer has to register with what? My store or not. So that can we create the store now? Can we create the store now? Okay. Who is the store here? Store. Can we create the store now? Okay, store. Can we go to my store now? Here, can we create one file, my store? Come on, how we can create the store? Can anyone guess? How you want me to create the store? By using which hook you want me to create the store? Import. Come on, import. Which hook? From my React. One of the hook called as what? Use reduce is my hook or not? Use reduce is my hook or not? Sorry. Okay. With this only, right? You have to register what? My reducer. Okay. Import my reducer. From where? From my reducers. Okay, reducers. My reducer or not? Now tell me. My use reducer, which take how many arguments? Can anyone guess? My use reducer take how many arguments? My use reducer take 2 arguments. What are those? One is your reducer. Another one is like what? Your initial data or not. So can we create your initial data now? Yes or no? You need data.js. Okay, what is the initial data you want me to maintain for now? Constant init. Okay, what is that? Students I want to maintain. Students I want to maintain. After that, we'll see if anything is required. So, can we import it here? Import from where? Import from where? From my utils. Import from my utils. Initial data is my file or not? What do you want me to import? Init or not? So, can we get that init? Yes. Okay. Now, my use reducer returns me what? My use reducer returns me what? Can anyone guess? My use reducer returns me one array, which contains what? Which contains what? Which contains what? Which contains your state and dispatch or not? State and dispatch. Can anyone tell in the total application? You know the requirement, right? You know the requirement, right? Who needs dispatch? Who needs state? Who needs dispatch? Who needs state? Simple. Total requirement, which component requires state and which component requires dispatch. My registration component calls my action. My action has to dispatch the data to my reducer. Nothing but what? This registration component only, right? How to give the dispatch to this guy. So my registration component requires what? Dispatch. Who needs action? Who needs action? Who needs state? State, not action. Who needs state? That state needed by my table component or not? Who need the data from the store? Okay, data from the store. My table component only or not? My registration component requires dispatch and this component requires state. So these all components now, only 2 components. In future, 100 components, 50 components. I don't know exactly which component requires dispatch, which component requires state. But all these components directly or indirectly is the children of what? Is the children of what? Is the children of my app or not? So from my app, I want to share this data to all my children or not by using context. So that this use reducer, okay, has to, this use reducer, I want to use where? Inside my app or not? Okay, so that can we do one thing. So here, constant, whatever it's going to return, okay, that particular value I want in my app component or not. So that can we do one thing, constant. Okay, you can say like store. So which name you want to keep? This is the one, store and dispatch, right? Yes or no? Store comma dispatch. Store comma dispatch. Yes or no? Store comma dispatch. But I want to export this one. I want to use the store and dispatch where? I want this store and dispatch where? Can anyone? I want the store and dispatch where? The store and dispatch I want into app component. By using context, I want to share to another person or not. So that, where can we export it? Export default. What do you want me to export? Okay, just you can export in the object format. Any problem with this? Any problem with this code? Problem with this code. Okay, now you are exporting what? You are exporting, okay, export default. What you are exporting? An object you are exporting or not? That object contains what? Store as a key and store as a value. Okay, the next one is what? Dispatch as a key and my dispatch as a value or not? Who requires this one? Who requires this object? My app.js or not? So can you go to my app.js? Can we import it? How you can import? Import. Okay, just you can put like my store data, which contains what? Current state and dispatch. Okay, from where you want to get it? Import from where? From my store or not? So my store data is like what? One object or not? That contains what? My store data is an object which contains what? Okay, which contains one property called as a state, another property called as what? Dispatch or not. So it's an object. this object I want to share with my all children's or not, with my children's. Okay, which children's had a registration and footer in future table, registration content one more. I want to share with all these persons. So how we can share it? By using context or not. So can we create the context now? Yes or no? So first of all, create the context. Here, new file, my context. So how we can create the context? Constant ctx equals to react dot create context. Can we export this one? Okay, this is my context. Where do you want this context? Okay, for now inside my app. So import from where? Context. My context. What he imported or what he exported? CTX he exported or not? So here, how we can provide the data? CTX dot provider. Like this, you can provide your data to all your children, by using which prop? By using value as a prop or not. Okay, what do you want me to share? What do you want me to share? This object or not? This object or not? Which contains what? It contains what? State and dispatch or not? Which contains state and dispatch or not? If you don't want header and footer, just leave it, no problem. If they require in future that whatever the store data, the data we can take inside the header also. Just if you don't want, just leave it. Understand or not? Okay, now in the registration, at the time of clicking on this particular button, okay, you send one to the server. Okay, you can get this response. My response may be failure or success. If it is like a failure, then the time you have to give the message. If it is like a success, you have to call your action or not. Okay, my action requires what? Dispatch. My action is not a component, so that my dispatch and store available to whom? Registration as well as okay table or not, so that my registration has to take the dispatch method and he has to give this dispatch to my action or not. My action is like what? My action is like a function or not. It's like a normal function or not. So how we can pass the dispatch to my normal function? How we can pass the dispatch to the normal function? By passing as an argument or not. So I need that context data where? Inside the registration form as well as table also, so that inside my registration I need that context data. So how we can? Okay, that one from here in the past you are using store.dispatch. Store you can import wherever you want, but here okay, Redux store is there. Directly you can get that. In the past, my Redux store is going to give that response or not. Okay, which one? Store, once you export it, store.dispatch, you can get it. So export, you can export wherever you want. But the thing is, whatever the data is there, whatever the data you keep inside the context, that is available to your components only, not for actions. Okay, in the past, directly you can get like store.dispatch here. Store you can import wherever you want. Store you can dispatch wherever you want. Okay, now come here. Oh, it gives me some errors, seems like. Okay, can we fix these errors first? What is this error? Invalid hook call. Hook can only be called inside the body of a function. Yeah, that is the problem. Yes, it is. You are using the hook where use inside the store. You are using this hook where directly you are using or not. It should be used inside the function. So what do you want to do? Can anyone guess? What do you want me to do here? Can we create one function? Just normal function you can create. Okay, store that. Okay, inside this one, you can keep all this stuff. Okay, now this function has to return something. Okay, and return it. Whatever my user ID is going to return. Okay, just return that one. I will share that video, no problem. Now I want to export what? This one. Tell me. Now tell me. My exported thing is like a store data. My store data is like what? One function. If I call this function, what it's going to return? It returns one array of what? One array of your values or not. Okay. Now, if you don't want the array of values, one object only if you want, just you can write like this. Constant. Constant. Come on. Actually, what is going to return? Store, comma, dispatch, right? From here, return your store, comma, dispatch. Now, can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? My store data returns me what? One object or not. So this one where you are using inside my app or not. So my store data is now what? It's a function. It's a function. If I call this function, then it's going to return what? One object or not. If I call this function, okay, it returns me what? One object or not. Yes or no? That object we are going to give it what? My context or not. Okay? Okay then. Now come here. My header and registration is done. Inside the registration, how we can take this data? Inside the table, how we can take this data? We'll see. Inside my registration, where is my registration? Here. How we can take the data? If you want to take the data, first of all, how we can? We can consume the data. We can consume the data by using what? Use context or not. You can consume the data from the context by using use context or not. From where you want me to consume? From my context or not. Where is my context? From my context. Where is my context? Okay, this is my CTS. This is my registration, right? I'm in the registration. I want this context. Okay, same for the context. What is my file name? My context or not. So it gives me what? CTX. So once you have the context, by using what? Context. CTX data equals to, by using use context, we can get the data from the context or not. Now the CTX data contains what? Your store, that means your state and dispatch. Now you can give this dispatch to my action while calling. Okay, like if we have. Okay, this is your structure, the skeleton. Okay, after that you can do some changes and everything. Okay. Okay, then we'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow, the same time you can join. We'll complete this one. Don't miss tomorrow's class. Okay, we'll discuss about the JWT token also, JSON Web Token. Okay. Okay, then if you have any questions, we'll discuss those questions in tomorrow's class. Okay, the profiler and everything, I will tell in tomorrow's class. Okay, I'll upload this one, and the video also once I get it from admin. Okay, just you can prepare from your end. Okay. Okay then, thanks guys, thanks for joining. Tomorrow same time, tomorrow at 8 o'clock you can join, same time.